course, are here with Dan Lowe. Dan, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you guys?
Good.
So, Dan, tell us a little about yourself. What's your game dev background?
Well, I mean, I've been working as an animator in the industry for about 10 years. I work for Ubisoft Montreal. In fact, I realized today that I've been in the industry for 10 years today.
Fantastic.
So yeah. The most recent game that I worked on was Far Cry Primal, and then before that it was Watch Dogs and Far Cry 3, and then before that I worked in the UK at a company called Bizarre Creations. And yeah, just animating really. So yeah, I mean, I guess what I do is a little bit different from what most animators do, in that kind of part of my day is animating, but then on the side of that, I do a lot of tools development, and I work with a lot of technical directors and animation programmers and that kind of thing to try and come up with more efficient ways to do what we do, really.
Cool. So you're one of those roles that sort of helps to further confuse what technical animator means.
Sure. Yeah. Every company has got a different definition. At some places it's like a rigger, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's awesome. And then so at Bizarre Creations, you work with another one of our boot camp people, Christian.
Yeah, I know Christian pretty well. He's a good guy.
Good. Yeah. That's what. It's cool that both you guys will be presenting here.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to his talk because he's presenting some pretty crazy stuff.
Yeah. Well, but let's your talk. So go
Sure.
into a little bit about yours, right? It's let me get the official title of it up.
I think it's some long-winded thing like the animate button mocap automation techniques at Ubisoft Montreal.
Yes. Explain to everyone what that means.
So, I don't know if you guys, I mean, I assume that you guys are familiar with this kind of running joke in the animation community of the animate button, where it's like, because we're computer animators, then obviously we just push a button that says animate, and
I'm still waiting for the animate button to do something in Max.
Oh, yeah?
It doesn't do anything for me.
It doesn't animate everything for you?
No.
Well,
I thought I was supposed to play video games all day and just have the button do something for me.
Well, what I'm kind of working on at the moment right now is exactly that, is at least for mocap, to try and come up with ways to automate the kind of tasks that animators would normally do, but to the degree to which we can just press an animate button and have it sort of do the entire motion capture cleanup process in one go. And I'm not talking about creative tasks like doing sort of adding appeal and adding kind of exaggeration and performance and that kind of stuff to the animation, but just kind of like taking the performance that the mocap actor did and getting that to sort of a shippable quality and ready to go into the game or ready for an animator to kind of work on top of it. And it's all doing that with kind of scripts and but sequencing scripts together in a sort of intelligent way to essentially do what an animator does. It's almost like building a kind of little mini animator AI.
Okay.
That's cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
It sounds cool. It sounds like a lot of work, like very large undertaking.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually surprisingly simple. I think the thing with mocap is that there's only a few tasks that we really do over and over again. It's kind of like we have to kind of fix problems with the data, so fixing fingers, fixing feet, and all that kind of stuff. But it's really just like looping cycles and pasting key poses at the start and end of the cycles. And once you boil it down to those basic kind of things, a turn-on-spot animation is the same as like a reaction animation, or a run cycle is the same as an idle animation, really, in terms of how you're actually processing it. And I first got kind of started on this because at Ubi we do a lot of mocap. Our sort of approach is to do, throw lots of animators at producing lots of data and doing lots of kind of angle coverage and all this kind of stuff. And so, like, I'm sat there on Far Cry 3 and I'm cleaning up like 100 turn-on-spot animations because, we've got different weapons and we've got different mental states and all this kind of stuff. And at some point when I'm doing this, I kind of realize I'm not even thinking about this anymore. I'm just sort of going through the motions of what we do. And at that point, when you can say, I'm not even really thinking about this, it's probably something that can be automated. I think as soon as you start getting into the stuff where I have to use animation principles and I have to make creative decisions about the performance, then okay, we can't do anything about that. But that's the kind of goal for me, is to just get rid of all of those processing tasks. Like, I don't think anybody went to animation college with like dreams of like, I want to update the rig to the latest version of the rig. And maybe that's going to take me like 15 minutes a time, but it's like, so I just want to get rid of all of that stuff really, and let the computer do all of that stuff, and let the animators focus on the performance.
So now, do you feel like this is a talk that when people are done, they're going to be able to sort of replicate this back at their studios, or?
Yeah, for sure. I'm trying to go into enough kind of detail. There's one sort of process that's right at the center of it, which is actually really simple, but allows you to do kind of a lot of stuff. It's what we're calling adjustment blending. And I go through the whole process of talking about how to do that. It's kind of a challenge thinking about how to explain that in a very animator friendly way, because it is technical. It's operations on curves. But it's so simple. Like I think our TD programmed it up in like a morning, and it's been this huge kind of change for us. So for sure, kind of people should be able to kind of go away from the talk and implement that. I'm looking forward to seeing what other people at other studios come up with that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Is this the first time you're going to be out at GDC?
Yeah, my first time at GDC ever.
Awesome.
Nice.
Looking forward to it.
Very, very cool. Glad to be a part of that. 10 years. That's pretty exciting that you're getting to kind of come out and celebrate.
Yeah.
In this way.
Well, I mean, I think in kind of previous years, I've maybe not had anything that was kind of different and new to talk about, but I think this is kind of what we're working on is quite a big deal. So yeah, I'm excited to sort of share it. Really, I've been sitting on it for a while.
Yeah, definitely. I can start to see where the things you're talking about match up with a lot of the stuff Christian's talking about. With how do you take all this large amounts of mocap data and what they're doing versus how you're doing it. And if it's allowing to take a lot of that data that they have, but get it into a cleaner version in an automated way, then I mean, like a lot of what I'm talking about is kind of taking the current paradigm of building sort of clips of animation and just doing the sort of ultimate version of that. I guess is trying to do that. I think what Christian's talking about is kind of the next paradigm. It's really what we're going to kind of like be moving on to, but having talked to him and some of the other guys at Ubi who are doing sort of similar things to what he's doing, the current kind of stuff with graphs and clips and that is still going to exist. It's just the kind of stuff that he's doing is going to be sort of embedded within that, so you would kind of like hop in between the two systems, at least for the kind of significant future. Maybe way further down the line it's all going to be programmers building systems to read data and no more animators, but
Grant will be retired by then. That's okay.
Yeah, that's the next generation. They can worry about it.
Sure.
Yeah, at least we've given them a heads up that it's coming, right?
Yeah. I've had a lot of people come to me when I tell them about the automation stuff and be like, gosh, you're going to put me out of a job. But really, I don't see it that way. Like I say, it's removing all of the things that you don't want to do.
Yeah, I mean,
focus on the big stuff.
Yeah, it sounds like the stuff that I hated doing when I worked with mocap, so I'm excited to see how you guys are pulling that off.
Yeah. Well, the way that I sort of describe it to them is like if you think way back to kind of when they were doing 3D graphics for Tron, like they're like writing in coordinates for each individual vertex.
Okay.
So like the ability to kind of like build a cube didn't kind of get rid of the I don't know. It's just to make your life easier, really. It's not going to put you out of a job. It's going to enable you to do more things.
Well, that's what talking with Christian too. It's good to have you guys here talking about this stuff, because I think there's that chicken little in all of us animators that worries when the new advancement is coming that we're all going to die.
Yeah.
And it's never the case, right? It's just a new form of working, and hopefully with something that speeds up areas that, how many times do I really want to animate another character locomotion suite in a game? Like, if that can be faster, let's do it. Why do I want to clean up 100 turn-in-place animations if there's a process that can do it for me? Right? Like,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I mean, I will say that kind of like I think going forward, people are going to need to be interested at least in the technical aspects of it, of animation. I think the days of just learning to animate and not really knowing how the engine works at all are sort of definitely going away. With definitely seeing some of these things that are coming, light motion fills. But yeah, I mean it's interesting times. I don't think there's been this big a change in sort of fundamentally in terms of how we do games since games started, really.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an exciting time.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Dan. Well, thanks for joining us, and we're
Thanks,
excited to get to meet you in person in March and see you give your talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, you too. Looking forward to it.
All right, we'll talk to you later.